2008 is where it all started for most of us. That's when Ken Block's first ever Gymkhana video popped up on YouTube, taking over the entire planet and spreading like wildfire on just about every car-centric website out there. Suddenly, almost out of nowhere, everyone who was even remotely into cars was talking about Ken Block or Gymkhana. That first video was only a humble preview of what would eventually become a multi-million-dollar universe that spawned 9 more sequels, each one more spectacular than the one before it. Not to mention a couple of Travis Pastrana takeover videos and 4 more similar productions that, although they have the word kinda in them, aren't part of the official Gymkhana series. Sponsored by DC Shoes, Ken Block's former company, the first ever Gymkhana video put him and his talents on the map, not to mention creating a downright cult for the motorsports category that harks back to Genghis Khan and horse racing. As a less known fact, the film was shot at the decommissioned El Toro Marine Corps Air Station in Orange County, California, which would later serve as the test track for Top Gear USA. While in the first video, Ken just dipped his driving shoes in what was about to become a global phenomenon with a much lower budget than what the execution would suggest, the second Gymkhana also featured a guest appearance from DC team writer Rob Dyrdek. Filmed at the Port of Los Angeles, it was continuous eye candy as Block drifted an all-new course in a freshly tuned Subaru Impreza WRX STI. Gymkhana 3 Part 2 Ultimate Playground went truly international, having been filmed in France and spawning a multi-year deal between Ken Block and Ford. Fans watched him hoon a heavily tuned Ford Fiesta rally car on a racing track that was originally built in 1924. Now establishing a tradition of going a step further with every new video, the fourth Gymkhana was filmed at Universal Studios and was directed by Hollywood director Ben Conrad. It featured all the things you would expect from a summer blockbuster, including pyrotechnics, lots of stunts, and a host of side characters. The highly modified Ford Fiesta would also appear and wreak havoc in Gymkhana 5, filmed in San Francisco, and Gymkhana 6, which even featured elements from the video game Need for Speed Rivals. The 7th iteration of the now classic action video saw Ken Block introduce a new player in the game in the form of a monstrous 65 Mustang nicknamed the Hoonigan. Filmed in downtown Los Angeles, it was almost a return to the roots of the Gymkhana series while exploring new urban play areas. The 8th Gymkhana video was released exclusively on Facebook and featured a newer version of the Ford Fiesta rally car, which saw Ken Block jump over sand dunes and drag race with supercars in Dubai. Coming back to the States, this time the franchise brought Ken to a derelict industrial park, pairing him with his own 600 horsepower Ford Focus RS-RX, which was typically used to compete in the FIA World Rallycross Championship.
I care more about the goal than the piece of equipment.
The 10th and final video featuring the word Gymkhana happened in 2018 and brought together a bunch of four-wheel monsters for Ken to slay their tires on various surfaces. Filmed in 5 different locations and using 5 different cars, it was by far the most impressive project in the Gymkhana franchise, at least up to that point. Now, that's how it all started for fans. But how did things start for Ken Block, and how did he get here? While he was relatively unknown in the global motorsport scene back in 2008, Ken was already a household name thanks to him being the co-founder of DC Shoes and competing in a plethora of action sports including skateboarding, snowboarding, motocross, and rallycross. In other words, he was pretty much the epitome of an action man before diverting most of his attention toward rallying and other similar racing endeavors. His personal mantra has always been that of a lover of action in all its forms. And apart from being a great businessman and marketer, he was also a one-man team and lived his life with reckless abandon long before breaking the internet with the Gymkhana series, which only made his persona available to a larger audience.
Like it says right here, to strive to win at any cost with zero mechanical sympathy or regard to one's well-being. The whole idea is to do the best that you can, to try and win.
You'd think that by the time the first video came out, Ken would have been an accomplished rally driver. But then you'd be partly wrong, because he was only bitten by the rally bug at 38, 2 years after becoming a multimillionaire from selling his shares of DC Shoes. He was almost 41 when the first Gymkhana video rolled out, so he was no spring chicken but acted like one, with little regard for his physical well-being and the pursuit of perfecting the art of coolness behind a steering wheel. While most people associate Ken Block with the Gymkhana video series, he was a larger-than-life figure who contributed to the popularity of motorsport in general, rally driving and car control in particular, not only in the United States, but also globally. His best-known performances behind the wheel comprise precision drifting, control jumps, and all-around hooning. For those that have never lived down under or in New Zealand, hooning is not a made-up word, but is actually defined in Australia's Road Safety Act as a joyride or reckless driving. Hoons are a problem in the land down under, and Ken Block loved that word so much that he even created an actual motorsports company called Hoonigan Racing Division.
Seconds would be in the soap, which sounds pretty fast.
Between shooting his Gymkhana videos, he successfully competed in the WRC and various Rallycross championships, making him much more than just a provider of fun for views on YouTube.
You know, I felt all right. I felt like the pace was going okay. There's 2 of us in that car. I have another person's life in my hands.
Even though he almost always did it in a controlled manner, he did consider himself a hoon behind the wheel, but there aren't any negative connotations to that statement. Finding something even remotely negative to say about Ken Block, his life, on or off the screen, is impossible. He was simply a lover of life and lover of fun. and he will be missed.